together. As we initiate chaos theory guarantees that we'll play like lightning shots, sounding like thunder. For every time in the face that it hits us, we're faster. Well, they should know by now. They see the world keeps trying to shake us. It only awaits us. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings. It's in a beautiful darkness. Only another. It's full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. All above the Betty Express. Misdirected from the start. It's a runaway train. I come a freight train. I come a freight train. In a beautiful darkness, the Betty Express. In a beautiful darkness.
Oh, for the love of Cheetos. Thank you, Wolfram, for catching that. Of course, I was muted. I do remember why I was muted, though. I was planning on doing an afternoon stream, but Mr. Mo decided to remind me that he needs to do some stuff with electricity, and I don't want him to get electrocuted. That being said, he also won brownie points because he found, I have been looking for this. This was my first big cross-stitch project because I'm a nerd, and he found it with all of my stuff. So he definitely earned brownie points in getting all of my, finding all of my, overarching Sailor Moon stuff. And he's basically working on my room. So it would be nice if I, let him get some stuff done so he's not stressed out anymore about it. Well, welcome everyone to this case. And on a housekeeping note, we have, unfortunately, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this just yet, but we have present, share screen, and where is it? I am a professional. That's how I roll, sort of. Oh, for the love of all that is unholy Cheetos. I have made a bingo card. Now, I had this brainwave at about 3 a.m. this morning, so all of the details and the sort of more rational, logical outline of this will be put on, but I figured we'll have bingo cards for every trial. Now, generally, I don't think we'll fill out a bingo card in one session, but I think this trial with trial effery will have that. Now, I need to look in as to how I can distribute these and all of that stuff. But again, this was a fig Newton of my imagination at 3 a.m. And honest to goodness, I have great ideas at 3 a.m. Do I have the, the scaffolding behind them? Absolutely not. But I do intend to have those ready for tomorrow so we can have trial effery bingo, which I think will be the best thing ever invented since sliced bread and radioactive shrimp. Now, I think we're done with that witness and we are going on to a police officer. So I hope that we will be able to. I will keep my bingo card, and I will have to get with Megan and a couple other people who do bingo cards to make sure I'm doing this correctly, because let's be real, my technical skills are what they are, which means that we are never quite sure what they are, but they believe in themselves. I have my handy notebook that is not printed on the back side. I will be talking to their managers because who wastes an entire side of paper? Like, just, I am not happy. I mean, honest to goodness, this is like one of the nicer notebooks. I like that it has a really hard, stiff, giggity backing. Since I'm basically on a Barcalounger, I don't have to bring a lap desk over. I can just put it on the chair rail or handrest and, write. But let's get into this trial, as me babbling randomly really isn't what you signed up for. But I'm here for it, and I don't charge you extra.
Intention was to take a break around 11:30, somewhere between 11:30 and 11:45. Is everybody okay? Everybody comfortable? Okay. State may call its next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Marlon Sutton.
Well, so you know, I'm going to take a break around 11:30, 11:45, and then I'm probably we're going to take a little bit of a later lunch, or probably around 1:15 if everybody's good with that. So make sure if you need a snack or something on the break that you get one, okay? Thank you.
Ooh, I wonder what kind of snacks they have for jury duty. I mean, our snacks in jury duty were pretty nice. I mean, it wasn't a reason to do jury duty, but they had pretty good cookies. I bet they have really good snacks.
If you'll come on up to the witness stand, when you reach the witness stand, before you sit down, if you'll turn and face the deputy and raise your right hand, he'll swear you in.
You swear upon to the testimony you're about to give truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you, sir. And just be careful about that ledge with the rolly chair.
Okay.
And then if you'll just scoot up to the microphone and state and spell your name for the record, sir.
Yeah, this is Marlon Sutton, MarlonSutton.
Okay. Officer Sutton, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell the court where you're currently employed.
I'm currently employed at Atlanta Municipal Court right now.
Okay. And what agency do you work for?
City of Atlanta.
How long have you worked with the City of Atlanta Police Department?
Ooh, a little over 30 years.
Okay. And when you started, describe your role when you started with the police department.
Yeah, I started back in '94. I was assigned to Zone 3. So I was basically answering 911 calls for the first 9 years I was in the department.
Okay. And at any point, were you employed in that capacity in July of 1998?
Yes.
All right. And would you have the occasion to, as part of your role in the police department, responding to incident calls or 911 calls?
Yes.
All right. And do you also have the occasion to respond to, say, calls involving domestic violence?
Absolutely.
All right. Is that a pretty common occurrence, responding to calls where there's been an allegation or call about a domestic violence incident?
Pretty much in that area was.
All right.
I worked at.
How many calls, and just ballpark, how many times would you say you've had a chance to respond to a domestic violence incident?
I was in that zone for 9 years, so I probably wrote about maybe 5 to 10 reports a day. Domestic violence, it had to be in the hundreds.
I'm sorry.
I wrote hundreds of domestic violence reports. I've been over there.
All right. And when you respond to a domestic violence call, talk about some of the things that you're either concerned about or you're looking to investigate.
Yeah, anytime I got a call in domestic violence, first of all, I just want to check and make sure that the victim is taken care of, away from hurt, harm, or danger, see if she needed kind of medical attention, so on and so forth. And we had a domestic violence unit back then. We would call them out to come out and actually deal with them on pursuing any charges further, since in this particular case, I was out on the suspect, was on the scene.
Okay. What typically happens when say a warrant or a domestic violence, say a battery is initiated? What happens typically?
Well, typically, if I write the initial report and we'll call a DV, domestic violence investigator, come out, and they'll investigate from that point on and have the victim come down and pursue warrants and so on and so forth.
Okay. You familiar with the term a TPO?
Yes.
What is that?
Temporary protective order.
And what's generally the purpose of a temporary protective order?
Someone in fear of being hurt or harmed by another person, they file a TPO.
Okay. Is that something that you will either educate or inform persons that you believe may have been victims of the
Right. There's time I can inform or I can get the domestic violence unit, because that's what they pretty much do every day.
Okay.
So.
And when what's the process? How does one go about getting a protective order?
Yeah, well, what I would do is that I would just always, if I can't get the DV on the line or can't get them to come out, I'll advise them to come out to the courthouse and file one.
Okay. So
courthouse.
you would actually advise the individual that if they felt concerned, they would go to the courthouse?
Yes, but generally, if we got a domestic violence unit, then we call them out to the scene to assist them further.
Okay.
Forgive me for interrupting, sir. If you would, you're a really fast talker.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
That's okay. If you'll just, when you're answering questions, try.
Slow down a little bit.
Yes, I believe we have. I don't think that'll go under anything such as audio issues or tech issues. Do what was on the bingo card when even the closed captions couldn't figure out an accent. But I don't think that that's there just yet. Now, I am going to mark Mo tangents because I talked all about Mr. Mo and my cross stitch and everything else early. So, but he does talk fast, but I can understand him and he's not wasting my time. And, as a person who doesn't have a giant amount of time all the time, I like that he's not wasting it.
Slow down a little bit. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, is it common for you to find, say, the offending spouse at the location when you respond?
No, it's not common. I mean, sometimes, but not. So most of the time, the suspect probably is gone or left the scene before I get there.
Okay. And I want to turn your attention to July 21st, 1998 incident. And your testimony was that you were employed in that same capacity at the Atlanta Police Department on that date.
Yes.
Did you have the occasion to respond to an incident location at that date?
Yes, there was a call came up that day.
All right. Do you recall what street that incident location was?
I believe it was on Brookline.
All right. Do you recall the address itself?
No.
All right. If I were to show you a copy of your report, would that refresh your recollection as to, say, the address, numbers of the street, and the
Yes,
street name itself?
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
I'll allow it. Allegedly in Minecraft.
Okay. All right.
Having reviewed that document, is your recollection refreshed as to the street number?
Yes, 772 Brookline.
All right. Well, let me show you this document here.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. So, the 772 Brookline Street, do you know if that's the number of the address of the call that came in, or is that the number of the actual house where the incident was taking place?
No, according to what I wrote, is that's not where it occurred at. She had left and went to another location and called, and I met her at that location.
All right, all right. So it wasn't, you didn't meet her at the incident location where it occurred.
Right.
Your testimony that she left and went to
Right.
All right. And as far as the address where the incident actually occurred, do you recall that address?
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Would it help to look at a copy of your report?
Yes.
It's documented.
Yes.
All right. You can look at this section here.
Okay.
What is that address?
I wrote in the 780 block of Brookline.
You recall it being 824 Brookline?
No, let me see it. Let me see what I wrote.
Oh, for the love of all the Cheetos. Yes, JKD Buck, that one kind of threw me. I do think that she did an okay job, but you could, and again, rightly so, if she does truly believe and is convicted that Christopher took her sister from her, but she was very combative and kind of not helpful with the defense. Again, naturally, if you feel like you're being talked to by someone defending a monster, but I don't know how much that helped the case. Also, I've never heard Tina, spelled Tina, pronounced Tina. Now, I don't know if that was the accent or they, but the way she said it, she said Tina. So I don't know if there was more of an E sound in there, but it was definitely very thick. And there were a lot of inconsistencies with her story. Again, that could be a function from it just being a long time ago, or, maybe things not being remembered exactly right. But there were some inconsistencies that I do feel were a little bit disingenuous. Again, the family of Melissa has maintained for a very long time that she wouldn't leave her children unattended, or, that was a big part of why they were so worried when she didn't come home or they couldn't find her. Their claim has always been that she wouldn't leave her children behind. But they haven't been kind of telling the whole story while they've been going on this cold case kind of press tour. Basically, Melissa had and reasons that haven't been disclosed in this trial other than she wanted to have a choice in who her children went to, did sign over parental rights, and I think relinquished her parental parental rights to Christopher's mother. So she really didn't have custody, to put a finer point on it, when she disappeared. I do think that's something that if I were a juror would bother me a little bit, how it has been misrepresented. But I wouldn't have, knowledge of how it has been presented if I was a juror. I would just say that would kind of stick out as something that would maybe question the motivations and the shading that is coming from the stories that are coming from the family. Again, completely understandable if you took all of the other stuff out of it, but because you have the additional layer of the Carl Patton and Flint River murders, in the background of this case, it does I think lend itself to more scrutiny on sort of the stories that the family is telling, especially of the victim. But I do think that that's a gambit that the defense might pay dearly for, because juries generally do not like people being bullies or, questioning victims' families in these cases. But let's continue.
You see that section here? You call it?
Okay, that's the address that was given to me as their residence address. As a resident, right.
All right. And when you say their residence, you're referring to the Christopher and Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Right, at 824.
All right, okay.
Brookline.
And that location, is that in Fulton County?
Yes.
When you arrived at incidents of involving domestic violence, do you look to see if there are any signs of physical trauma or abuse on the individual that's been affected?
Yes.
Did you do that in this case?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jury if you recall seeing any signs that Ms. Wolfenbarger had been assaulted or attacked in any way?
Yeah, I documented the bruises that was on her legs.
Okay. And okay. Now, do you recall seeing anywhere else? And I know this is 1998.
I mean, now off the top of my head, as I wrote something down in the report that I'm not aware of.
All right. And during this period, your testimony is that you were taking about five to 10 calls a week?
I may break like 5, 10 reports a night.
A night?
Right.
Okay. All right. And that's during that.
Emma Rempier, this case is a gift. I mean, it's crazy, and I filled out at least 20 pages of notes, but that's because my new communist notebook doesn't have back writing or isn't lined on the back. That being said, Emma Rempier, since you're from the future or current timeline, is the state going to proffer any actual concrete evidence or even circumstantial evidence beyond the body being found in, again, a place where Chris would have had intimate knowledge, possibly because of it being so close to his home and his work? I mean, is there any concrete evidence that comes out, or are we going to get a lot of vague inferences? Now, granted, we're only on day 2, but I'm going to need the state to start bringing more than, Chris was a terrible husband and this was bad. Oh, evidence, what's that? Okay, well, that answers that question.
8-9 year period
Right.
That you were working that zone?
Right, Zone 3 was busy back then.
All right. And so, to your recollection, this would have been the only time you would respond to that location. Is that also correct?
That, to my recollection, it is.
All right. I want to turn your attention to, well, let me ask you this. Would it refresh your recollection if you were to review another portion of your
Okay.
potential injuries you may have made?
Okay. I got you.
Can you look at that section and tell the court if you recall?
Did the state not go over his testimony like a week before, like they already have? Just wait till you get to the DV expert. Well, hopefully we'll get through that to that part through the weekend, and I can use the new smoothie machine to make myself an emotional support beverage.
Seeing any abrasions or indication of the attack?
Mark, can we approach?
Yes.
It's a sidebar. We got a sidebar. Okay, I take it back. Yesterday I thought he looked like Forrest Gump. Today I don't think so. But I don't know who he reminds me of.
Yes,
I
I
can just-
observed interest on her body.
Okay. Do you recall what parts of her body that you observed?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And what parts of her?
Her legs, I think I documented on there.
Okay.
Arms and
Well, he
legs, I
said-
believe. Yes.
No, you only said
Did you also
legs.
see any?
I don't like this. Again, I understand that you need to refresh, again, with a case this old, people's memories, but I don't like this baby step leading. Oh, did you see him? Look at this particular section. I need you to really notice this one. Again, I get that, but it also looks very unprepared. It looks like the state didn't do any preparation with this witness, and I don't like it.
On her back.
Not that I recall this at the top of my head.
You can look at this report in this section here.
Okay, yes, I see it.
So you call,
Well, I also do have it at 125.
injuries on her arms and back.
Yes, I did.
All right. Now, if you're documenting this, are you documenting what you're observing in your life?
Yes.
Was that a practice that you would do? Would you want to, or would you make it a point to actually observe any injuries that you're going to document in your report yourself?
Yes, I mean, you want to document the injuries because just to see if some actually did took place. So,
Okay. That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Samuel?
Officer
yes, sir.
So, you remember, do you have your report with you?
No, sir.
Do you remember now, or having looked at your report before you came in today, how many hours had gone by between the time of the incident, whatever it was, and the time you first talked to Melissa?
I don't recall, but I think I wrote down that this had occurred at a different time in my report. I believe it happened at a different time.
Right. How many hours had gone by between the time you had, whatever. I'm going to ask the same question.
Yeah, I don't know because, I mean, I think I documented that this occurred at a certain date and time in my report. I don't know what I put on there, but I think I wrote it down that this happened at a certain date and a certain time. So I'm not sure how many hours it was in my memory.
Do you have a copy? Sorry. Do you mind if I give you a copy?
No. He has reviewed the daggone document 3 times and he cannot remember a single thing. Just, okay.
I'm going to give you.
Okay.
Did you document in your report that any injuries that you observed had occurred earlier at a different location?
Yes.
Okay.
I did document it, right.
Okay. You met Melissa at her house, right?
No.
824.
Okay. I can't recall. The reason why I say that because I think I met her in the street from that where it didn't occur.
Okay. So we have one place where the event occurs.
Right.
And then we have the residence.
Right.
Okay. By the way, you never saw Chris Wolfenbarger that night at all. You've never met him.
I don't know what he looks like.
Okay. We couldn't identify him in the courtroom today.
No.
Okay. You guessed, but
I mean,
you don't know him.
I don't know him, no.
And never saw him that night.
Never saw him.
Right. And what you wrote in your report was that any injuries were minor, correct?
They appear to be minor.
Okay. I mean,
Right.
you checked a box on the report that said
Yeah,
minor.
it appeared to be minor. It wasn't anything grave.
Right. Did you take her shirt off?
No.
Okay. And yet you wrote in your report injuries to back.
Yeah, that's the other question. I would think that, and maybe he did call the domestic unit that handles this, but I wouldn't feel like, and this could be again to the individual, but I don't think if I were in a very vulnerable position, I would want a male around me if I had to show bruises. That being said, maybe, she was okay with it. I just know personally I might want to wait for a female. So he doesn't seem to have a really, again, it was probably a very minor incident for him. But the fact that, he said this and there weren't either any photos taken or anything like that does kind of make me question things just a little bit.
So you didn't observe those, right?
I don't know. I can't recall.
Have a great day.
And your recollection is something about her legs and her arm, but you don't ever remember taking her shirt off and
I don't
examining
remember taking her shirt off.
or examining her like that.
Well, I saw injuries on her legs just from what I wrote down, what I saw, what I observed. I didn't take any clothes off.
Right. Okay. I'm not accusing you of anything. Was there anybody with Melissa when you were doing this interview?
I can't recall.
You. Do you remember another man who was at where she had been?
I don't remember that.
Don't remember anything about that?
I don't even think about another man, no.
Do you know what was going on at 780 Brookline Street? You wrote that in your report as the incident location, right?
I don't, if I wrote it down, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it actually occurred then. I got to see my report. I'm not sure.
Brown Mayor.
Yes.
Okay.
So I did some highlighting of that, so obviously not here.
Okay.
The incident location was a location at 780 Brooklyn.
Okay, yes, uh-huh.
And Chris Wolfenbarger wasn't there, right?
No,
You never saw him.
never saw one.
And where did you actually interview Ms. Wolfenbarger?
One second. Let me see. Hold on a second.
I'm asking you what was said, just the location.
Well, I gotta look and see because I know I met her on Brookline, but I don't know the exact location. Yeah.
But it wasn't her residence.
Wasn't a residence, no.
And you also said that there was some stolen items involved. You remember that?
I remember writing it down, but I can't recall. I can't put it together now why I wrote it. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, but if your report wrote her glasses were stolen and $10 was stolen, would that be accurate?
Yeah,
You would write it down.
well, I mean, I think her purse was stolen.
Okay,
There might have items that may have been in her purse. I was just documenting.
okay. You want to look at your report?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I see it.
$10 was stolen, purse, and her glasses were stolen, and her purse was stolen?
Yes.
You wrote
Okay, I wrote that down. Right.
You would write it down if you weren't sure, right?
Right, that's what I was told.
I don't want to get into what you were told, but no medical treatment was needed, though. You checked that box, no.
No, I don't recall medical treatment.
Okay. My questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Fawcett, questions for the
Now, I do wonder if this was the officer, or maybe he wrote in the report for her to possibly seek out a temporary protective order, because I did find that interesting that the state brought that in on direct. Now, it hasn't been elicited in testimony, but I do find it interesting that the state kind of went out of their way to ask this particular officer, how to get a temporary, restraining or protective order. So I wonder if that's going to be in redirect, even though it was indirect. So
witness?
Would you approach?
Yes.
he is a fidgety guy. We do have him at 1.25 though. JKD Buck, would you say that this is a circumstantial evidence case? Yes and no, because I think circumstantial evidence is generally very reliant on trace evidence, on physical evidence that, can very concretely link you to the crime, to a weapon or something like that, not inferences. I'm starting to get a little worried that this is going to be a lot like I think his name was Michael case from Arizona, where it was a cold case of his stepdaughter going missing, and he had always been everyone's pretty much, main suspect. And many years later, I think one of his either other daughters or someone close to the family had basically started a cold case, kind of podcast and gone deeply into this and found a lot of things that maybe linked, but excuse me, but wouldn't be allowed in court. A lot of kind of things that you could infer, it looks really, really sus, but not enough to prove a case. And I am worried that this case is starting to look a lot like that. I mean, I can understand Christopher being a suspect with the past history of, marital issues and violence in the home. And then with her leaving and him or the body being found close to where he both lived and worked. So, but if we don't have any trace evidence, if we don't have the saw, if we don't have this, if we are relying on witnesses who, and regardless of all the other extraneous factors, we have to agree that Norma Patton is possibly not a reliable narrator as to her relationship with her daughter or what was going on in her daughter's life, given that she, in the past helped cover up criminal behavior of her husband, up to and including, I think, disposing of bodies. So I think it's going to be an interesting thing, because right now I don't have anything to link other than, yeah, she was found very close to where he was, but we don't know where this took place. There was no trace evidence ever found in the home. And because none of this was linked together, we lost the opportunity to find any of these possible crime scenes at the time when they were fresh. So we don't know. So I don't know. But the state has not impressed me thus far with either their preparation of their witnesses, their ability to get discovery to the defense on time, or to simply have, again, concrete, tangible things that they can show me.
Document in your report the times that you responded to that location?
Yes.
Is that something that you would have done?
Yes.
And also in your report, would you have documented the time that the call came in?
Yes.
And typically, when a call comes in, what is the contributing factor to when an officer would be dispatched to a call?
You mean a time? Or
Yeah, and generally, what time would an officer be dispatched to a call for when actually not?
Well, they prioritize calls. So if someone just filed a police report and there's no immediate threat, it's going to be downgraded. So it's hard to say, depending on how busy the calls are that day.
All right. And so this call came in about a potential domestic violence incident. Where would that have been at in terms of calls and priorities?
Well, it wouldn't have been a high priority call because there was no threat there at the time.
Okay. All right. Now, do you recall we were talking about the July 21st, 1998 incident. You recall that date? Do you recall the time that you received the call?
No, I don't recall off the top of my head. I don't.
Okay. Do you recall the time that the actual call came in?
No, I have to see what's documented.
Okay. If you could review your report
Okay.
and tell the court if you can recall both of those times.
Okay. The time I received the call?
Yes.
Okay. You want the dates or just the times?
Just the date and the time.
Okay. Okay. I got the call on, it looks to be, I'm trying to read my writing, it looks to be July 21st, 1998 at around 8 p.m.
Okay.
Maybe that's 8:01 p.m. I'm not sure, like maybe 8:01 p.m. 2100 hours.
And that would have been the time you say you received the call?
Right. That's the time I received the call. Yes.
All right. And what would have been the time that you would have responded?
Let's see. Hold on one second.
It definitely is, Wolfram, but here's the part that confuses me, and I understand that I'm trying to apply my own logic to this case. But if you are doing the dismemberment to try to conceal the identity of your victim, but you then drop those pieces and parts very close to your own home and where you work, doesn't that defeat the purpose for which you went through the whole trouble of, jigsawing the body? Again, I know I'm applying my logic, but it doesn't make sense to me. And when things don't make logical sense to me, they really don't compute. It is totally suspicious. I just don't understand the thought process. But I guess if I did understand the thought process, I'd be at the defense table as the defendant. So again, he is presumed innocent, but I'm just saying if I thought like criminals, I'd probably be convicted of something because they don't seem to logic these things through.
I know the exact time I got there on the scene. That's the time I got the call, though. So I don't know what time I actually arrived.
Okay.
That's the time I got the call. So it could have been anywhere between, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes after I got the call before I got on the scene.
Okay, that would have been an average time that it would have taken you to respond.
Right,
to
just
the call.
drive over there, probably about 10 to 15 minutes.
All right. At that time, did you have the name of the individual that would have been the offender?
When I got the call?
Yes.
No, not when I got the call.
All right. Did you have an understanding of who the potential offender was to the victim, like the relationship between the two? Did you have an understanding of that?
Objection.
Do you want to rephrase? If you can.
Okay. Did you know the relationship between the two parties?
I
No.
object, Your Honor.
Overruled.
What was your answer?
No, I didn't know.
All right.
I don't believe so, but let me dig.
And did you know who upon responding, did you know who the victim was?
Upon responding, yes, I did.
And who was that?
I don't know her name, to be honest with you. I can look at the report and give you the name I wrote on there.
I'm sorry?
I can look at the police report and give you the name of the victim that's on the police report. I can give you that. You would like me to read the name of the report? I can give you that. You have the victim name?
Yeah, did you document that victim's name?
Yes, I did.
What is that name?
It's Melissa Wolfenbarger. I'm not pronouncing it right.
That's all I have, Judge.
Mr. Samuel, anything else?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, sir. You may sit
you.
down. You are
Right.
excused. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 11:42. We're going to take about a 15-ish minute break. I'm going to try and get you in here as close to noon as I can. And then again, as I mentioned, we'll go for about an hour and 15 minutes, and then take a break for lunch. So I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
All right. And according to ChatGPT and Grok, let's see, I wasn't able to find any credible sources, news reports, court documents, or official statements indicating that Christopher Wolfenbarger was in a wheelchair at the time of Melissa's disappearance or during the investigation. There's no mention of it in the coverage of the case or the trial. Detailed news outlets and others covering the case after 2023 made no mention of any mobility issues or wheelchair use. And background information about her case, investigative developments, and trial proceedings likewise contain no indication that he had mobility problems at the time of the offense. So that might be something that if he takes the stand, we learn about. But as of right now, I don't think so. I will continue to look, but that was just what ChatGPT said. No, JKD Buck. I think it's good to try to think outside the box because, what if he had had mobility issues? That still doesn't negate that it's still kind of sus that all the pieces and parts were found very near his body and his work, or not his body, his house and his work. So him being in a wheelchair, doesn't preclude him from being evil. Evil's for everyone. Yay. Diversity and inclusion in evil and crime. But it might mean that, again, I just don't see someone with mobility issues being able to disarticulate a body easily without leaving trace evidence. I love this judge. She has a face like mine, like, like if I find something ridiculous, you can tell. I do. My face is underlined,
Thank you all. Please be
bold,
seated.
and caps.
State may call its next witness.
Your Honor, the state called Stephen O'Hare.
Thank you, sir. Come on up to the witness stand, and when you get there, before you sit down, if you'll turn and face the deputy and raise your right hand, he'll swear you in.
Before I find the testimony that I got here, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Okay. Yes, sir. I got these.
And if you'll get situated, be careful of those wheels next to that ledge, and then state and spell your name for the record, please.
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Stephen O'Hare, Stephen, last name O''Hare.
Oh, my gravel voice. I mean, look, that is a rough and gravelly voice. And look, I do have vocal crushes, not gonna lie. I could listen to this man read me the newspaper. Sir, if you ever think about changing careers, that gravelly voice could do great things, in narration.
Detective O'Hare, good afternoon now, about 7 minutes. Can you tell the court where you're currently employed
I am currently employed with the Atlanta Police Department.
and in what capacity?
I'm a detective.
And how long have you been employed with the Atlanta Police Department?
I am in my 33rd year.
All right. Can you describe your duties that you have currently with the Atlanta Police Department?
I'm assigned to the fugitive unit. Our responsibilities include
Okay, so let me see if I can do this quickly. So we have got motangents. Let's see, not translation. Where was it? Pop culture lookalike. I believe we've done that. So we've got pop culture lookalike. I tried to think of this again at 3 a.m. in the morning, so I might change some of these. But I've got felony, audio issues, 26 years, chat derail, sidebar, hearsay, pop culture lookalike, the mother's past, the possible Netflix documentary, the cold case podcast, the state lost it, including evidence or anything, Fulton County, whenever, effery, well, related to Fulton County happens, her father's crime, when we might actually see real concrete evidence. Do what is what I say when I don't understand things. So if I have, sort of a colloquial like misunderstanding, like screets yesterday, technical issues, either mine or the court, covered in cross. This seems to be the favorite kind of phrase of the judge when the defense brings up anything that might imply that the state has done something somewhat not kosher, like in discovery. She's like, it seems like a fertile place to cover in cross. So that I've got discovery every cold case censored, which means basically anything that will probably get my trial nuked that either a witness or the court just pops up on screen. Motangents, which are, you can pretty much always mark off. Not in the annex, which seems to be the favorite refrain of the state when they can't find any daggone evidence. The matrix is broken because, honest to goodness, we've had like 5 or 6 minutes of this already in this. Translation, again, when the cross or the closed captions can't even figure out what a witness is saying. And then when a witness pops up with whatever, and it's just crazy. So we've got 2 going. Again, this was a Fig Newton of my 3 a.m. brain, which means that it was, possibly not the best work that I've done ever, but it is a work in progress. So tomorrow should be much better.
Locating and arresting fugitives that are assigned to us. Typically, the individuals we're looking for would be described as violent offenders. Anybody that has a warrant for anything from murder, armed robbery, rape, aggravated assault involving a weapon. Almost all of our subjects we're looking for involve something of that nature.
Okay. And generally, how is an operation like this planned? What is the planning involved to execute something like this?
So initially, a case will be assigned out. Typically, it's in a rotation-styled order. They will go outside of that at times and give a senior investigator certain cases. In this case, or typically in any case, we'll do an initial background of the individual, attempting to identify a location or a number of locations that the individual could be at. We utilize technology in order to assist in locating individuals. Once we actually reasonably believe that we've got a location for a wanted subject, we will then utilize different means to apprehend them. Could use our own fugitive unit to basically go and conduct a knock and call out is what we call it. Basically, we knock on the door, identify ourselves, and request for the individual to come outside. We could utilize the U.S. Marshals in some more serious cases or cases that are outside of the immediate Atlanta area. We'll also utilize the FBI in a similar manner, but for me, I usually use the U.S. Marshals.
Okay. And were you working in that capacity on the 26th of July, 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And on August 6th, 2024?
Yes.
All right. And as to those dates in particular, I'm going to turn your attention to August 6th, 2024. Can you tell the court what you did on that date?
So on August 6th of 2024, we prepared a warrant service in the attempt to apprehend Christopher Wolfenbarger, who was, or had an outstanding warrant for murder. I had reached out to the U.S. Marshals and requested their assistance, including the assistance from the Spalding County Sheriff's Office. We reasonably believed that Christopher was at his address. I believe it's 126 Liberty Circle in Griffin, Georgia. We utilized his cell phone by GPSing it, and that allowed us to additionally believe that he was on site, as the cell phone showed to be at his property that was identified to belong to him.
Really?
We arrived on site. U.S. Marshals took the lead as they went to the actual door to attempt to serve the warrant.
All right. Now, when you approached the
Michael, I think you might be the most furthest away from the South Central Indiana, I do believe. But considering I am American and geography isn't my strongest suit, Spain could be anywhere to borrow from Clueless.
door, and in particular, in this case, do you make any type of attempt to announce your presence?
Yes, in this case, I witnessed it. The marshals did what we call a surround and call out, so they will surround the property utilizing all the different resources we have that day. But specifically in this case, they approached the door with a 8-man, what we call a stack. Basically, it's a series of individuals who obviously are armed, and their job is to make contact and attempt to apprehend the individual. And in this case, they did knock on the door, and they did identify themselves and specifically call out for Mr. Wolfenbarger to come out and surrender.
When you say identify themselves, how did they go about doing that?
They will call out their U.S. Marshals.
Okay. So there was some attempt, so your testimony is that there was some attempt to alert that there was law enforcement present?
Yeah, it was more than just some attempt. What we describe as waiting a reasonable amount of time. We will knock on the door, knock on the door, knock on the door. And they went further than just, they gave him several minutes to.
For those of you who are new to the case, Christopher Wolfenbarger didn't surrender calmly to the marshals. So we are about to hear the story of how he had I think 4 to 5 hour standoff with SWAT members in his garage.
Come outside and surrender.
And so when you say further, further than what? What do you mean by that?
Well, depending upon the intelligence we have prior to going in, the potential for violence or potential for there to be risk to the officers for serious injury, or further than that, they could decide to basically break down the door. The individuals believed to be running inside, potentially gathering weapons or anything like that, they will breach the door and attempt to basically escalate at a point to where you get him to understand that he needs to surrender.
Okay. Were those attempts successful?
I love it because he's like, we'll take them down. You know, he just wants to say, look, we'll tase them until they're not a threat no more. I don't know. Again, crush on his gravelly voice. Although it does sound like it hurts him to talk. Sir, they're called, wild cherry throat lozenges. They're just like candy. Ludens. In fact, they might just be candy, but they work wonders.
No, they breached the door, and his female girlfriend that identified, I believe she was a long time.
Female girlfriend? I mean, it is 2025. Maybe we do have to specify.
Longtime girlfriend. She was observed coming from the right side of the structure. It was later determined that their bedroom was to the left side of the structure. So for whatever reason, she was coming from the other side.
Okay. All right. So walk us through.
Howdy, traveling fools.
In terms of the tactics that you used to work your way through the Wolfenbarger residence, what were you doing, and
Fair point.
and how many persons or how many officers total were involved in that?
I can't tell you specifically how much personnel we had, but if I had to put a number on it, it'd be roughly 30 people between, obviously, like I said before, Atlanta Police, U.S. Marshals, Spalding County Sheriff's Department, and we also had the U.S. Secret Service out there assisting.
Okay.
You tell them, traveling fools.
When you make your breach, what do you do after you first make the breach into the residence?
We basically we'll breach the door and we'll continue to call out. At that point, they're waiting for any kind of contact with anybody. In this case, his girlfriend immediately came to the door and was saying she surrendered. She basically just started cooperating at that point.
Okay. And did you attempt to work your way through the residence at that time?
At that time, the team that actually was assigned to clear the structure started to basically clear the downstairs. They had a secondary team start to clear what I can only describe as the two garages or off to the right that were directly attached to the actual what is the house. It's kind of a weird layout, but you had the house on the left and then you had attached garages that they were using as part of their house. So they cleared the bottom area, did not locate him. They were working to clear the upstairs structure, but they were being very methodical about it. They believed at that point, since they had cleared the bottom, that there's a potential that he was hiding upstairs, and they were trying to come up with a plan on how to safely be able to go up there and locate him and apprehend him.
Okay. Was that successful attempted to locate Mr. Wolfenbarger upstairs?
They never actually made it upstairs. I actually had relocated from outside and came in and started assisting in what we call a secondary search. We actually did 3 or 4 searches to try to locate this individual, and it's not unusual to have people get creative in their houses or locations and come up with locations for them to hide. So we continued to kind of pull on boards, try to move mirrors, just do second and third searches to make sure that somebody didn't miss something. Unfortunately,
I do believe, and it's been a bit since I read the article about this case, but I do believe that he had created somewhat of a kind of hidden room for himself in the garage, like maybe a little kind of space between like the drywall and where typically insulation or something would have been put. I mean, again, like a secret, hideout room from the federal marshals wasn't on the bingo list. I guess I better put a hidey room from the feds on the bingo card.
we are human and things do happen like that. So as I maneuvered out for probably the second or third time out to what was, I can only describe as a makeshift kitchen that was created in one of the garages. And I kind of maneuvered around and I noticed on the right side of it, there was like a wine rack that appeared to be loose. So I started manipulating it and kind of saw that it was moving a little bit, and I was using my
They hid behind a wine rack? I mean, classy. That's almost James Bond.
gun and flashlight on my gun to kind of peer underneath underneath it, and I maneuvered a little bit more to the right, and when I looked inside, I could see what turned out to be
Yes.
Mr. Wolfenbarger hunched over. I could see his back, and he was hunched over, hiding deep into the little structure that was created for their kitchen.
Okay. Is your memory good enough of what you observed that day that are you able to demonstrate the manner in which Mr. Wolfenbarger was, as you testified, hunching over when you observed him?
It might not
Do we get a demo? Do we get a demonstrative of the curl? Are we going to do courtroom yoga? Oh my Bob Ross. I am here for it.
be my memory that I'm worried about. It might be my body that I'm worried about.
Okay. All right. Are you physically able?
But yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay. With the court's permission, could I have the witness step into the gallery and demonstrate what he observed Mr. Wolfenbarger doing?
Mr. Jeremy? Daniel?
That's fine.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
What in the name of courtroom yoga?
He seemed to be on all fours, kind of hunched over, where he just was. You can see the curvature of his back.
Okay. And at that time, your testimony was that you had the light on your firearm, is that correct?
That's correct.
And at that time, your testimony was also that you had already previously made several attempts to announce law enforcement. Is that also correct?
Repeat that.
Several attempts to announce that you were law enforcement. Is that
Yeah,
also
not just
correct?
myself, but everybody that was out there. They were. The initial response was we had identified ourselves, and at that point we weren't walking around basically announcing ourselves over and over again. Because the people that are serving the warrant, that are actually looking for him inside, they can't have a bunch of people talking. Their job is to come up with a plan to try to safely find him. So we're not just going to be in the house just yelling or continuously saying, "Hey, police."
Okay. How much time would you say, just in an estimation of how much time it took from the point when you first made your announcement of law enforcement to when you were able to apprehend the defendant?
It was at least 20 minutes, if not longer.
Okay.
Somewhere between the range of 20 and 30 minutes. It seemed like, at least.
All right. Were you able to apprehend the defendant?
Then the cubbyhole in the garage was another case. To be fair, I do get them very, very mixed up because of all the cases between Mornings with Mo, Koberger, and Twin Flames. So I was wrong. They did find him, and we got a demo in the court. So awesome sauce.
On that.
Yes, once we spotted him inside of the kitchen area, I kind of backed off, summoned some of the guys around it, and then we called out several times. I attempted to communicate with him myself. Other guys from the U.S. Marshals finally got him to be able to respond within about probably 3 to 5 minutes, and then basically he responded verbally, and it took us probably another 3 to 5 minutes to get him out of the structure, to talk him out.
Okay. All right. Of course, permission, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 29. Can you tell the court if you recognize this State's Exhibit?
I do.
All right. How do you recognize that exhibit?
That is a thumb drive with body worn camera video.
Have you had the opportunity to view the contents of that State's Exhibit?
I have.
Did you sign the envelope on that exhibit indicating that you had viewed it and that it was a fair and accurate representation of what you observed on the date you arrested the defendant?
I did.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moved to tender in evidence State's Exhibit 29.
Okay, Exhibit 29 is admitted.
Permission to publish?
Permission granted.
And Your Honor, I've informed the defense counsel, my assumptions in the area agreement. We're playing the tape starting at 5 minutes.
Okay.
And how long is it? It is 26 minutes. 26 minutes. Minus 5. Minus 5.
Court in
So
a
21
cop
minutes of
episode?
runtime?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. Is there both audio and video?
There is audio and video, that's correct.
Okay. The reason I ask that question is just so I can instruct the jury that because of the technology, if you see people talking, their words may lag behind the movement that you see. And so I'll just prepare you for that, that they might not line up. Go ahead, sir.
We get body cam footage in a court day? Ladies, forearm action. We might be in for some hot forearm action, you know, because there's nothing like a really shapely wrist on a dude to get our motors going. Okay, I mean, not for nothing, but I want that stoplight, that traffic light. Do you think that the state would allow me to buy it at an auction, asking for a me? For my room, for classiness and such.
No, it's so much shit.
There's a freaking, that was man cave, and she got us in a run, you're gonna keep running. That's true. If it's the fence, you can't get past the big hatch, and you could, I mean, perimeter got up pretty quick, right? Right, plus, Frank and another guy approached the woods. So, I mean, they were blocked off there, I think. Yeah. I don't think they would make it out. Yeah. John? Yeah. Want me to clear your fences right here? Yeah, fix it up there. Yeah, just every next week on the 7th.
And not for nothing, I kind of like the chandelier too.
You're about to get the flying upstairs. You're about to fly the drone upstairs. Very small, but straight out the stairs or straight off the two-way straight up. Looks like it splits because nothing would pass us, dude. If you know someone's coming.
And remember, safety first, always wear your safety glasses when you are a federal marshal.
Like to have like fucking, I mean, it sounds weird, but to have like the fucking patio. Yeah.
Is that the wine thing over here? Send nudes. Wait a minute. They have a neon send nudes light. Why don't I have something? Oh. There's Shizzy with his helmet.
Are we pretty much clear on the main level? Except for there's a, when you come in the front door, there's a door behind the front door, you go construction window on the left. I don't think we've gotten to what I did. Jumping out.
Ooh, he was working out. Okay, I'm going to take just a little pause break to do a puppy kitten break because I don't know about anyone else, but this footage is giving me a bit of vertigo. So we're just going to take a quick puppy kitten break just for my inner ear.
When the world feels like a dumpster dive and humans forget how to thrive, take a break, just you and me, with a puppy and kitten, wild and free. Paws and purrs, let's drift away to a land where tails wag and play. No more noise, just gentle muse in our furry four-legged cruise.
Sorry, you guys, but most of the time I'm okay with cop cams and body footage, but he's got a really interesting and very exaggerated gait pattern. So it's kind of like going this way every time he takes a step or wherever he has it placed. Usually it isn't so noticeable.
It's great not to have the dome ready. I would say it's going to be grown up at first. Yeah. I understand. As well. Hey, so he's not going to have a whole lot of work up there with the drone. Immediate left is a closed door. Okay. Button hook right, pretty much right above us. There's another closed door. Right and straight is a bathroom.
Is that a pirate mannequin just in the middle of the front, like, walkway for no damn reason? I am so confused.
All right, hey, who's got the drone remote? Or the bot remote? Okay, hey, somebody monitor this while Mason's on the stairs. Make sure it's got the hell on the stairs. Yeah, he was saying that it was on like a day ago. I think he was awake and he tells me that rider stayed over. So we got into your camera. Hey, the left side of the house right there. Yeah. There's these bedroom windows, right? Yeah. Are they? Yes. You know, the closet? Yeah. It's got to be small. Yes, sir. No, see, go to the bedroom here. So it's got to be here. I'm not going to went in there. No, I'm not. I haven't in there. It's going to be there's no connecting door. It's going to be a small closet unless it stairs down. Maybe it'll fucking cool closet sometimes. All right.
Couch fort.
Can I get up upstairs if you guys want to clean that up? Just is somebody in there? Somebody in there? Yeah, they're actually they're moving. Trying to catch. All right, let's switch it towards you. Somebody in the city. So not you if you well, me and him are going to take stairs. You better know. Let's move it. Right,
This house is confusing to me.
Mr. Mice was on that side of the house.
Orange. They're a Bulls fan. Yes, very much so. Okay, we've got burnt orange and a purple bedroom. And thank you, Squaw Bob, for gifting a membership. And that went to Ronan. So congratulations. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We have dark chocolate, sarcasm, and, well, the occasional bit of dark humor. But, you know, we do okay, and our therapist says we're doing fine. So welcome, welcome, and thank you, Squaw Bob, for the help. And y'all are killing it. Look at this. My swear jar is, you know, just filling up, and y'all are awesome. So welcome. And I do plan to actually be much more on top of things and have member stuff and all of that. I haven't made any. I will say I haven't done as much baking as I used to. I am hoping that with the kitchen remodel at some point, I can find a chair I can scoot around in. That is in a wheelchair, because for some reason I do have a giant mental block on getting one of those, even if it would be more comfortable to kind of do kitchen-y stuff in it. I'm willing to accept an office chair or a rolling, you know, stool with a back. But as of right now, I'm hoping to adapt the kitchen to do a lot more cookies and baking. He's hiding in the dishwasher. Possibly. Y'all, did they try to convert, I guess, a two-car garage house into like a barn dominium by building this addition and then turning the garages into the kitchen? This house confuses me. I am all the confused. Ronan, actually, that sound is to let people know who are viewing the body cam footage that is actually being shot live, that is currently recording. So every little bit in body cam footage, you'll hear kind of like this ner, or, you know, depending on the locality, there'll be a beep. But that's just to indicate that this is in fact being recorded live. It is, you know, going on. It isn't any trickery. Like the moon landing, allegedly. Kubrick, I see you. I'm just kidding. I'm sure we landed on the moon. I keep wondering if that's the thing that they're talking about, because that's the only thing I see about a wine rack.
Yeah, weird. Just see. What I said, this will come through. I wasn't there. I didn't hear one upstairs. You slide. You like slide the keys.
Again, is no one saying anything about the random pirate dummy in the middle of the house? Silly girl, I have a pink wheelchair decked out. It's a personal fashion statement. White Rabbit, I am trying to get into that mindset. As you can see, I've got the comfy chair. I finally gave into that. I will say that this year has been much harder trying to, because I was kind of okay with the last 3 years. Like I'd finally gotten like, and honest to God, like no lie, no spin, fairly okay with my life, you know, as it was currently with my injury. This year has just been super hard. So, you know, I will say that I'm probably going to break down and get one. It's just, it's getting there. But I will say that, you know, I will take the wisdom. And I'm learning that, you know, to adapt and bedazzle is a good thing. True. The mannequin thingy that they keep running into. If they walk past it again, JKD Buck, I'll let you know. Who the hell puts Raid on top of the water heater? I mean, safety issues. Oh crap, she's got wigs too. Mo played no part in the purchase of wigs and or the decoration of this house. No, but the purple room is sus, and then she's got wigs hanging up. Yeah, nothing like a red rum bathroom. What in the Kubrick film are we here? Like, is this the Shining bathroom on a budget? Ooh, I like the fireplace. That is a cool fireplace. I am getting, I want to get I want to get one of those glass fireplaces like from the 80s. TV thing. That is cool as heck. Wait a minute. Why in the hell are there power or like plugins up there? I mean, I don't think he's doing licensed contracting work, but why the hell would you put a plug-in near the ceiling? Again, I'm not a constructionologist, but what the heck is going on? Vertical shiplap or paneling.
That is a big ass dresser. It's pushed all the way to the wall.
I think so. Oh, that's nice. I do like that.
I think I pretty much cleared it. See the corner. It's here. Where's the AC unit? I guess it's upstairs. back here. So it's not enough. Yeah, there's no basement. Right here, over here. What is coming from the ground?
What is this house?
Yeah, it could be under like a subfloor, but that means there is a subfloor. So, access to that. No, some way for you to get in there. Let's see.
Ronan, this is actually video footage of the U.S. Marshals assisting with local police detectives to arrest Christopher on the warrant for his wife's murder. Now, Christopher decided to hide, and they are doing hide and seek with, a suspect. So we are trying to figure out, A, what is going on with this house, and B, how many not street legal pharmaceuticals were used in the decoration of this house. I work at an antique and collectibles shop. I sew and I'm a word worker, a rock hoarder, avid gardener, and have ADHD. You should check out my garage and house. Oh no, look, may she without boxes of shame full of craft things throw the first stone. So as you can see, I will not be throwing anything. And there's a reason I don't do a home and lifestyle channel, mostly because I am not June Cleaver, and I think I only dusted my baseboards once when I was trying to put myself into labor with youngest most feral. Other than that, I use like a little mop thing. What is it going to be inside the desk? JKD Buck, you will see the big mannequin thing coming up. This right here, that's a mannequin. Very true.
It's held in by these two things.
That would be epic.
It's on a channel, but I couldn't, I couldn't really. I can't see the, I think you space. Can you see the phone for him and me? I did. Okay.
Oh, that's the wine rack thing. Really? That thing?
I don't see it. Tell me you're gonna. He's in here.
Wait, you went through the whole thing of being silent and doing like the, the baseball catcher thing. And then you're like, he's right, cheer. He was cheer.
Be able to see him. Talk to him. Talk to him. Chris, come out with your hands up, dude. You know you're in the garage behind the line thing. Come out now. Go.
Partner, come out now or you're gonna get yourself fucking shot.
Jason, Chris, come on out, buddy. You good, man?
Potty mouth. First word, jar.
Inside of that. Inside of that. Yes, you're seeing an opening on the other side. Yeah. He's kind of hunched over like this.
We stopped the video at 23:44.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Detective O'Hare, we've just watched a portion of the video beginning at the 5-minute mark. At this point in the video, has the announcement and the breach of the residence, had that occurred at that point already?
That had occurred originally, yes.
Okay, all right. And that was the video consistent with your testimony as to the wine rack and placing your gun in the flashlight to be able to view the defendant at that time?
Correct.
All right. And you testified as to the use of technology. Was that the reason that you continued to do the first and the secondary searches? Was that the reason that you continued to do that?
No, technology would have referred to utilizing his cell phone
Okay.
to assist in locating him.
All right. And how, in terms of the cell phone, was that did that contribute to, I guess, just the search that he was at the location or the effort to search the residence? Did that contribute to that?
Yeah, the fact that this was reasonably believed to be his residence, and
He does.
in addition to that, his cell phone was at the residence. It led us to believe that he was in the residence. We additionally got some additional information that he was inside. So,
Okay. All right. That's all I have, Judge. That's all I have. Thank you.
Samuel?
Detective?
yes, sir.
Detective O'Hare, we've been in court once before. You may not remember. You worked with the Marshals Task Force, is that right?
I did, yes.
Okay, at the time. Okay, Detective Hines, Deputy Hines, U.S. Marshals?
Yes,
Okay. Hutchins,
correct.
you testified in that case, do you recall?
I did.
The approach that the strike forces take when they apprehend someone begins with a pre-op.
He's Alex Jones if Alex Jones worked for the man. He does kind of sound like Alex Jones if either a more gravelly Dan Connor or a less gravelly Alex Jones.
Pre-operation meeting, correct?
That's correct.
Somewhere off-site, you meet and discuss the background of the defendant, right?
Correct.
You review kind of the history of the case a little bit. I mean, you're not spending hours, but to give you a sense of what you should expect to find, correct?
That's correct.
And for your own safety, right?
Yes.
That wasn't me, was it?
No, I think it was someone in the gallery.
No.
Fine.
No strikes? Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. And if I understand correctly, there were about 30 of you that showed up at the house, right?
That's my rough guesstimate. Yes, sir.
You count the cars out in the driveway, but, and well, let me go back to the pre-operational meeting. You knew that who did the pre-operational meeting? Who was the case agent, so to speak?
In a technical sense, it was me. I assisted, but considering that we had requested for the U.S. Marshals to handle the actual deployment of resources to apprehend him, I believe it was Deputy U.S. Marshal Frank Lemke that was technically the U.S. Marshal case agent.
Right, okay. And in the pre-operational meeting, did you all discuss the fact that on several prior occasions, Mr. The defendant, Chris, here, you know his name's Chris, right?
Correct.
Wolfenbarger, that he had met with the police and had long conversations with them on many occasions prior to this?
Yes, it was revealed that he understood he was a suspect.
Okay, defense, I need to understand why him having, long talks along the beach with the cops preclude him from getting a warrant served for his arrest. Now, I'm sure he had the opportunity to turn himself in, which it seemed like he neglected to do. So I am a bit confused about, what is going on in this.
Obviously, this had occurred years prior.
That's right. And he had met with the APD and had given DNA samples on 3 different occasions?
I wasn't aware of that, but
He met with other detectives and gave head hair samples when asked.
that could have happened.
He met with other police. I mean, he was regularly, it seems, this was many years ago, meeting with police officers and gave pubic hair samples. Were you aware of that?
And we will be marking, let's see, what is this going to be thing? Because, you know, it's not every time that I get to talk about pubic hair in a trial. So I'm going to go with censored because my guess is that just re-uttering that has gotten some person, you know, in YouTube's headquarters to flag this to flag this stream. So we have marked out censored on the trial effery bingo card for today.
Was aware that he knew he was a suspect and had previously
Cooperated. Yeah.
But all the rest of it, I mean, you're talking about a number of years had transpired.
The point is, it's important for the arrest team to know about his. Listen, if in the past he had regularly pulled out a gun every time the police approached him, you would have dealt somewhat differently on this day, August 6th, than if he had just regularly talked to the police when asked.
I guess, but the fact is, the charges, I mean,
I
support us taking him very seriously.
I am not saying you did anything wrong. Okay, so don't.
No, I understand that.
Okay. Who was doing the pre-op? Lemke, is that what you said?
I believe it was Lemke, but it would have been supported by me. I would have provided, because I technically was
Right.
the case agent for APD, so I would have provided a lot of the details.
And was this your body cam we were just watching for 20 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. No firearms anywhere, right?
Don't recall ever seeing any.
Okay. Well, of course, you all had
Yeah,
assault
no doubt, yes.
weapons and machine guns and all kinds of things you used, right?
Machine guns? No, I bet they wish. And I'm not even going to get started on where in the Second Amendment he's wrong with that. But no, law enforcement's, while they may have, you know, I think the military has the happy button that goes from, you know, single to burst to full, but I don't know, for the love of Cheetos.
Possess, right?
We have firearms, correct.
Right. If necessary, you have flashbangs you will use.
We have access to them, yes.
You have access to drones you actually use, even inside houses. You'll send
Correct.
drones upstairs to look around what's going on, right?
Yes.
The Gatling
And in this
gun.
case, as in, I think it's fair to say all of the cases that the strike force does, it's kind of for lack of a better description, kind of a shock and awe, right? You don't go in with one or two people and knock on the door if it's a case where you're making a violent crime arrest. You
Shock and
30
awe?
people many armed with assault weapons and everything else, right?
Yeah, we
It is
do.
a scary scene.
Well, the idea is to overwhelm the individual with a show of perceived force.
Exactly what I meant. Okay. Shock and awe, overwhelm them with perceived force. And it's obvious to you what happened here was the overwhelming show of force led him to hide behind the counter, right? Behind the wine cellar. Wine rack.
Well,
I would disagree
or not
with
wanting
you.
to go to jail.
Well, you don't know what's in his state of mind. I don't know what was in his state of mind. But there was an overwhelming show of force, and then he went and hid, correct?
There was, but there was also a declaration.
Okay, yeah, that excuse doesn't float when my youngest, most feral says, "Well, Mom, I lied to you because I was afraid I was going to get in trouble." No, I said, "No, sweetheart, that's consciousness of guilt. That's you knowing that you did something wrong. That's not, and you realizing that you would have to have consequences." He's like, "You were big and scary, and he was afeared of you. He was afraid."
That the law enforcement was on his property and he was fully aware of that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not questioning that. I mean, just look how everybody's dressed. You all have flak jackets on, police, marshal. Secret Service was there. No FBI. The FBI strike.
Is the defense attorney going to ask him about his toxic masculinity next? You guys were wearing flak jackets and you had big scary weapons. They're part of the federal marshals. I don't know what is going on here.
Strike force wasn't there, right?
They were not there.
You use marshals, and another group uses FBI, right?
Correct.
Strike force. There's two different strike forces in Atlanta. Okay. And when you arrested him, he came out from behind the, whatever you call that part of the kitchen that was under kind of construction behind the wine rack, correct?
Correct. After a period of time, he finally surrendered.
Right. And then you put him in someone's car and drove him up to Atlanta, correct?
That's correct.
That's all the questions I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fossett.
Detective O'Hare, were you involved in the criminal investigation in this case?
I was not.
Okay. Do you know who the lead detective was when the skull of Melissa Wolfenbarger was originally found in 1998?
I believe it was a retired detective, Detective Dale Kelly.
Okay. Did you assist him at that time in 98?
I did not.
You familiar with who the lead detective is when the remains were identified in 2003? Do you know who was assigned to the case at that time?
In 03?
Yes.
I do not.
Okay. So you don't know that it was Detective Alton Calhoun?
I did not.
Okay. Did you ever consult with Detective Calhoun about his investigation into this case?
I did not.
Okay. You didn't talk to Detective Calhoun about whether or not the defendant was cooperative during the investigation?
I did not.
Okay. What about Detective Jerian Shepard, who picked the case up in 2021? Did you ever discuss or assist with the investigation of the case, assist him?
I did not.
Okay. And based on your observations, would you describe the defendant as cooperating with law enforcement on the date that you arrived to execute that arrest warrant?
He did not.
Okay. Now, are you able to see and recognize the defendant in court today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you point him out and describe what the defendant is wearing?
The young man off to the right, blue blazer, light colored shirt.
All right. Can you see if the defendant is sitting in a chair or wheelchair or something?
Your Honor, we'll stipulate that he can identify Wolfenbarger.
All right. Do you see that?
Yeah, it sounds as if Minister Samuel indicated that they would stipulate that that was Mr. Wolfenbarger.
Okay, great. Do you see that Mr. Wolfenbarger is in a wheelchair at this time?
Yes.
Can you see that?
I did when I walked in, yes.
Okay, all right. Are you able to recall the physical state, condition of Mr. Wolfenbarger at the time that he was arrested?
He seemed perfectly healthy.
Okay. Did he appear, as he was hunched over, attempting to hide, did he appear to have any physical limitations at that time?
Okay, so that does answer the question that I kind of queried ChatGPT about. Now, while ChatGPT was able to say that they didn't find any information, saying he had mobility issues at the time, he was hiding because he didn't want to get arrested for for being accused of murdering his wife. And yeah, he should have waited for the Ollie Ollie oxen free. He was almost there. He was it. Because he didn't want to change the doggone batteries in his freaking fire alarm. That thing was insanely ridiculous.
He did not.
Okay, and when he exited, did he appear to have difficulty moving around?
He did not.
And did either yourself or other members of your unit perform any acts that would have physically harmed the defendant on that day?
We did not.
So, okay, all right, that's all I have, Judge.
Samuel? Okay. Thank you, sir. Let me sit down. You are excused. State may call its next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Norma Patton.
Ooh. Buckle up, buckaroos. Norma Patton is on the stand. Now, that is the mother of Melissa, the wife to Carl, the quintuple killer, and a person who, if you follow kind of the general reporting on this, was the spearhead for the long-awaited, getting this case from cold case actually to trial. Now, I have heard this is wild and crazy, so I'm here for it. Now, I will say that I only have about 30 minutes left. I do anticipate being able to do an afternoon or evening stream, but I forgot that Mr. Moe asked me if he could turn off the electricity in my room to work on some stuff circuit-wise. And, I said he could probably do that since I don't want him to be electrocuted. So we might do a very long stream tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be packed full of all sorts of craziness, but we are definitely going to really try to catch up on this case during the weekend. So let's get into this and at least get the start of Norma, the sort of Norma pregame going.
Okay. could go ahead and have a seat, please. And get situated up to the microphone. You need to help her get that seat situated. The deputy, and raise your right hand. He'll swear you in.
You swear affirm to the testimony that you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I am. I do.
Thank you. And if you'll please state and spell your name for the record.
Norma J. Patton, Norma J. Patton.
No, Ronan, this is still the state's case in chief. Generally, the state will go first because they have the burden of proof. And have a wonderful lunchtime, Wolfram. Thank you so much. And she's not the same lady. The lady from yesterday was Tana, her daughter. Now, this is crazy. Norma Patton was given immunity in her husband Carl Patton's quintuple murder trial. She did confess, but she did testify that she helped him remove bodies, but this is also the victim's mother. So there are two completely separate cases. Now, the defense is going to contend through third-party guilt that there is just as much evidence or lack of evidence that Carl may have had something to do with Melissa's disappearance, or at least that's what the defense is going to put forward, that Melissa, might have found out about crimes. Again, Melissa went missing at about 1998 to 99, and Carl was not indicted for his crimes until 2003. So the defense will allege that, if there's anyone with a history of violence against people who might turn people in to the police, it was Carl. But let's get into this instead of speculating and listen to what Norma has to say, because I bet it's going to be a walk on the wild side.
Ms. Patton?
Yes, sir.
Tell the court, where were you living in the 1990s?
1990,
Yes, 1990s, that area.
Locust Grove.
All right. And were you married?
Yes, sir.
Who were you married to?
Carl M. Patton Jr.
All right. How many years were you guys married?
We were married 56 years, 6 months, and 8 days.
Okay. Did you and
If you asked me the days and months, I would have not one right clue as to how long Mr. Moe and I have been married. Not to mention, yeah, she does seem to have a lot of pride in the length of her marriage. Seems like an odd thing to take pride in, but different strokes for different folks.
your husband have any children?
Yes, sir.
How many children did you have?
We had 2 girls.
What were the names?
Hannah Mae was the oldest, and Melissa Dawn.
Okay. And where did you raise your 2 children? Where did you raise your 2 children?
Between Ellenwood and Locust Grove.
Okay. And how the age range between the 2?
7 years.
Okay. And did Melissa and Tina, did all you guys grow up in the same household?
Yes.
All right. Do you know the name Christopher Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
How do you know that name?
Melissa started seeing him when she got into high school.
Okay. And was this at the beginning of high school, middle, end of high school?
Freshman year.
All right. How did you come to find out about that relationship?
When she met him, she started running away to be with him.
And what about that instance? How did you find out about it?
Well, she would not come home from school, and I would try to find her and turn her in as a runaway when I wasn't able to find her.
Okay. And prior to her starting high school, was that happening?
No, sir.
All right. And during that period, how would you describe the relationship between yourself, Tina Patton, and Melissa Patton?
Tina May and I have not been close. Melissa is the one that I bonded with more so than Tina May.
And what do you mean by that?
Melissa was my baby.
Okay. What were some of the differences between how your interaction with Melissa and Tina how would that differ?
Well, the difference with Tina May, she would get mad when she wouldn't get her way, so she would run away.
Okay. And what about Melissa?
Melissa, we didn't have that issue. We just
You just got done saying she started to run away. And there's 7 years between them, so, well, ostensibly, you wouldn't be dealing with maybe adolescent issues at the same time. So I could understand how Melissa would be easier to deal with. But this is kind of part and parcel of teens, testing boundaries. I'm sure it's going to get crazier. Okay. Well, and if she was 14 and there was 7 years between them, Melissa's still going to be 7, 8. Yeah, also, the way we're pronouncing Tina is killing my soul.
until she met Chris.
Okay. Did you know of Christopher Wolfenbarger prior to that time?
No, sir.
All right. And what were your feelings at that time about the defendant and your daughter seeing each other?
I didn't want them seeing each other because I felt she was too young.
Okay. And were you able, did you express that to your daughter?
Yes.
Did that have any effect when you expressed that to her?
Well, she just kept running away. She didn't.
Okay. And at any point, do you recall their relationship becoming?
This seems like an odd place to have, and it could be sort of a nervous reaction. I know I tend to smile or giggle when I'm really nervous or hurt. It's actually kind of disconcerting, especially to my husband. But when I tend to get really hurt, like when I broke my ankle, I was giggling hysterically, which was, because I called him, I was on the trail and I was giggling hysterically, but I'm like, I think I broke my ankle. And he's like, why are you laughing? And I was like, you knew I was weird when you married me. Could you just come pick me up? That being said, it is sort of a rictus smile. It's not a comforting smile. It's almost a smug, I know something more than you smile. At least that's how I read it. And when you already have when you already have a very sus background, I don't know that this is the smile I would be pulling out. I wouldn't be pulling out my Grinch smile. Again, I'm trying to have grace for her because she's the victim's mother, but optically, I don't think this works.
Particularly serious.
Yes, I got worried about it after they, the first runaway, not so much, but after she kept running away, then I determined that I felt like I needed to put her on birth control.
Okay.
So I put her on birth control.
All right. And can you tell the court what you recall after that?
I tried my best to keep them separated, and I would watch her take the birth control pill, and I thought she was taking them, but come to find out she was not taking them.
Okay. And do you recall if your daughter conceived a child at any point?
Yes, she did.
And at what point, if she's in high school and she's talking about her starting high school, how soon after that does this happen?
Well, I found out before Christmas that she was pregnant.
Okay. Do you recall how old she was at that time?
No.
Was she at a point where she was a senior and ready to graduate from high school?
She was not a senior.
Okay. Was it at a point where she had just started high school and said she was a freshman?
Yes.
Okay. So closer to the beginning of high school, is that the best of your recollection?
Yes.
All right. And your recollection is that she got pregnant during that period.
Right.
And do you recall the grandchild that she got pregnant with?
Yes, Christina.
Okay. And is that Christina Wolfenbarger?
Yes, it's Christina Marie.
Okay. All right. And what happened after Melissa got pregnant?
After she got pregnant in February, her and Chris got married.
Okay.
Because she was pregnant. Did not need my signature because she was pregnant. So that was just,
Was Melissa living with you up to that time when she got pregnant?
yes, she was.
All right. And who all was living in the house at that time?
Carl, myself, and Melissa.
Okay. And at that time, we're talking about going into high school and when she meets the defendant. What was the relationship with Carl Patton and Melissa, your daughter?
They had a very good relationship. He would take her fishing. He took her on fishing on one episode, and he had caught a turtle, and he started pulling the turtle in the boat, and she about got out of the boat, and was trying to get away from the turtle, and he brought the turtle home.
All right.
Y'all, what the hell am I watching? Yeah, my husband was a serial unaliver, but he took my daughter turtle fishing. This smile is going to creep me the F out. Yeah, also episode. Now, Ronan, and I do wonder, chat, it was brought up by the defense that someone from the state's witness list has already signed a contract with Netflix to do a documentary that kind of spans the Patton family crime dynasty from, or I guess, Crime-a-palooza, from Carl Patton's crimes to allegedly Chris Wolfenbarger's crimes. And there's already been like a contract as far as monetary gain for this person. Now, again, there is just something deeply unsettling about her smile to me, and it could be just me. And again, I'm trying to have grace, but there's this underlining. If ever I saw Dolores Umbridge, this is the face I think she would have. The very smug, very self-assured, very content with herself, and her opinions being right kind of smile. Now, whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know, but it is severely creepy to me.
And after your daughter got married, did she continue to live in your residence, or did she move out?
No, the day that she got married, it's the day she moved out.
Okay, and where did she move to?
She moved to East Point. I don't remember the street that they lived on.
Okay. And is this a residence that you visited after she moved?
Only one time.
Okay. And
Okay, separate the knowledge that her husband was a killer. I'm going to say objectively, I think it's a creepy smile. Like if I didn't know anything about her, I think the smile would still creep me out. But I am a serious inside cat that doesn't tend to read emotions well or reads them too deeply and then gets lost in my own personal analysis of said, observations. So I could be just as deeply abnormal. I may not be the litmus test of normal.
and why was that only one time?
They didn't stay there that long.
Do you recall if your daughter Melissa conceived another child with the defendant?
Yes,
And what child was that?
that would be Joseph
Okay.
Allen Sander.
And are you able to tell the jury how many years apart between Christina and Joey?
Christina was born in August the 15th, and Joey was 1995, and Joey was born July 5th of 1996.
Okay, so right
It was
there.
not even a year.
All right. And your grandchildren are born, there's 95, 96. Are you spending time periodically, frequently? Are you spending time with your grandchildren during that period?
During that period, Melissa, when she would get a chance, she would bring Christina basically to my house whenever she had the opportunity to have a way to get down there.
Okay. And orient us to what year this would be, best you can.
She came to the house kind of early 96 when she found out she was pregnant with Joey. Her and Christina, and she sat on the couch and told me that she was pregnant. But prior to...
All right, I figured out what it is about her smile that bothers me. It involves her whole face, not her eyes. Next time she does her kind of rictus smile, look at how her eyes don't seem to be engaged. They seem to be completely void of the emotion that, like, you know, when your eyes sparkle or you're really, really excited about something and you tend to open your eyes just a little bit more. She doesn't do that. So I perceive something not genuine about the smile. That's what creeps me out.
Her coming, I had gotten home and had a letter from her where she wrote a letter because I wasn't home, and to tell me that she was pregnant. So when she actually came, I already knew that she was pregnant.
All right. Now, you said whenever she would get a chance. So we're talking about that 1996. Think about that year. Give us an estimate as to how many times she would have come over and you would have seen her and say Chrissy during that period.
I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, I guess.
Okay. All right. And is that spread out during that period of the year?
Yes.
Okay. And when she comes over, she come over by herself and the daughter, or she Chris ended the finger?
Usually it was just her and Christina.
Okay. And does that continue into the next year, 1997?
1997, really didn't see her that much. In 1996, before Christmas, she actually lived with me, with her and Joey, but
Okay.
for a couple months.
Okay, so that was in Christmas of 96?
That early, before Christmas, yeah.
Okay. And do you recall why that happened?
Because she had been arrested for car theft.
Okay. So she got arrested for car theft, and you're keeping the grandkids for 2 months.
She came to stay with me with the grandbabies, yes.
Okay. And during that period, what's your relationship with your grandchildren?
It was fabulous. She got a job. During that probably about 3 months that she was there, she got a job at a place in McDonough that did computer parts. So she was working and taking care of the babies.
Okay. Did you see your daughter in 1998?
1998, I saw her November 9th, 1998. It was the last time I saw her.
Oh, the last time you saw her. Okay. All right. Now, are you familiar with where your daughter was working during this period? You said the computer place. Was she working anywhere else?
To my knowledge, she was working on and off at Waffle House.
All right. Okay. Now, I want to turn your attention to the year 1998. Did you have an opportunity to see Christina in and around, say, the July or August period of 1998?
No, I did not.
Okay. During that period of 1998, do you recall seeing any injuries or bruising on the person of your daughter, Melissa Wolfenbarger?
When I saw Melissa in the summer of 1998,
No, you just said you don't recall that you saw her, in the summer of 1998. So how are we allowing you to continue this with what you don't recall what you saw? All right, this is probably a sign that we need to wrap this. What I will say is I don't get, again, because of her past, I should feel very confident. I want to feel very confident in what she's telling me. And her evasive answers, like let me just go through the things that I find sus already as a mom, not even as, a third party intervener. Okay, let's go back to Norma. All right, as a mom, and especially if you are completely against the relationship, how do you not know the exact time that your very underage daughter told you she was pregnant after you had gone out of your way to get birth control and watch her take it? You're telling me you don't remember what grade she was in? It's all a bit of a blur? Because I'm telling you, if my youngest daughter came to me as she is a freshman in high school and said, "Hey, mom, guess what? You're going to be a shenanigan." I think I'd remember that she was a freshman in high school before I had an aneurysm. So that doesn't ring clear to me. Also, you just have this overwhelming pride, and I'm not saying there does seem to be a clannish sort of culture between all the family members, and you do see this in sort of very rural areas. You know, family first, family, you rely on family, you ride or die for family. And so I do feel like there's a bit of that dynamic here, to the exclusion of the government and the feds and think Dale Gribble. But again, there's something deeply unsettling about the pride that she has in her marriage to someone who put so much evil into the world that I find unsettling. But even if I divorce that knowledge, that pre-knowledge of all of the father's crime, her smile does not reach her eyes. There is something, and again, that's what it reads as to me. But there is something in there where your brain is telling you that there is something about this person's demeanor that isn't ringing true. And that's the last thing you want to have kind of conveyed on the stand when you're trying to get the jury to believe in you. That being said, those are kind of the weird things that I've noticed so far. Again, it does seem like there was a lot of strain in the relationship with Tina, but I also have to wonder if there's going to become, if during Cross, there's going to come out a lot of things about how chaotic the family was. Because let's be very real, these are not healthy relationship dynamics. And I'm not a doctorologist, but when you have, a family where both teenage daughters are constantly running away, there is something internally wrong there. So I do wonder if during defense we are going to hear a different side of, Carl and Norma, not so much, the turtle fishing, good dad, but the more maybe reality based stories and not the stories where she was trying to make this look good. I also find, again, the sort of lack of a timeline, of an established timeline, of a clear kind of coherent story of when we found out Melissa was missing, what was going on in Melissa's life. Because as just as important as what Christopher was doing during the time of, Melissa's disappearance and unfortunate demise, it's very important that we know what Melissa was doing. I mean, victimology is also important, and it does seem like there were no shortage of people in her life that needed to be investigated, that could have had different things above and beyond Chris and her father, to include the new boyfriend. And now the defense alluded to it, but apparently Tina's first husband was accused of child grossness with her daughter, but also was in close contact with Melissa as well. So again, I'm not discounting that Chris did this, and if the state has the evidence to prove this, I'll be just there, with the jury to vote guilty. But what I worry about is that because they have inferences and not real evidence, that the jury's going to think they saw something when they didn't, and convict someone with flimsy evidence. Again, if we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Chris did this, lock away, throw away the key. This is horrible. Melissa, whatever she did, whatever struggles she had, she was a human, she was a person, and she did not deserve to have her life end so tragically, nor did her children deserve to, be embroiled in all of this. But I am a little irritated. There is something, again, it's just personally me. There is something that brings inauthentic, and as a mother who is, if she is on the level about trying to get justice, the last thing you want to with your complicated history is to appear as though you're shading the narrative or trying to, be less than honest. That being said, let me see who I can send you over to. Like I said, I will try to give you guys a big alert with announcements everywhere if I am able to do another stream today. It is likely possible, but I don't know how long Mr. Mo needs for all of the electronical work. So that could be that. I am going to send you over to, well, I'm wondering if I'm going to send you over to Defense Diaries because they're doing the opening statement for the Donna Adelson case. I do know that Baker is covering this particular case I'm covering. So if you are wanting to catch up with, the Donna Adelson case, that would probably be a good place. Defense Diaries are awesome and just really good, and actual lawyers, like, with all the learning and such. So they'll be able to give you more legal insight into this, where I give you Mo insight, which is not exactly legal and probably won't save you from a felony conviction. So don't try to use it in a court of law. But have a lovely day, and if I don't see you again, join me tomorrow for the weekly roundup with Shizzy and possibly Volstorm. We will be attempting to make each other snort laugh. And then we will be doing the Petty Express. Then I will be hanging out with Shizzy. Then I will be hanging out with Publicly Buzzed, and we will be watching Crybaby over on his channel. So Johnny Depp at 9 p.m. on Friday night, hanging out over there. I am going to have, my dance card is full tomorrow. So I will see you guys then. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you, White Rabbit, for reminding me to double check the electricity before my husband starts anything, which is probably a good idea because I need him to stay alive, mostly because he has to take out the trash. It is the one chore I don't do. It is the only chore that I gender in this house, but I refuse to take out the trash. Look, I do every other chore. I just ain't gonna do it. I won't, I refuse. I have 6 children, 1 husband, and 4 cats. I should be able to find someone to take out the trash for me. And have a lovely, lovely day, and see you in a little bit. TK Phillips. If I have another stream today, I will announce that and try to put it out everywhere on the Twitters, on the community page, on everywhere. Bye, you guys. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because kindness doesn't equal test the Jesus in me. That's to my children. Bye, you guys.